Hey Dad, you in here? Oh, there you are.
I am.
You making another video?
Yeah, I was just actually reading some questions here of somebody that, let me find it again here, guys. Do you have a favorite teacher or person outside your family that impacted your young adulthood? I actually did. And it was actually a long time ago. When I was in first grade, I had a teacher by the name of Mrs. Snow. And when I was little, and I still kind of do, but it was a lot worse when I was younger, I had a lot of trouble saying a lot of words. So tongue words would get stuck to my tongue, and my words would get stuck to my... Well, anyhow, I'd have trouble speaking on different things. And sometimes school got pretty frustrating for me, and it was hard sometimes for me to... Mrs. Snow took me in, and she was just the sweetest teacher in the world. She helped me work through some things, and she always said, hey, don't worry about things you can't control. You take control of it, and you can go a long ways. And when I was little, some people said I was gonna have troubles farming and stuff because I couldn't speak right and all this stuff. She said, don't worry about any of that. You can do what you put your mind to. So she was just, I guess, really was the one that made me think a lot of times, like, hey, it's okay. We're all different in our own ways, and like I said, still sometimes tongues stick to my words, but I get through it and we move tongue, words, whatever. I always do think of Mrs. Snow, and she gave me a lot of things when I was little to bring home and try to work through some of my speech issues and stuff. So, but you know, I'm okay.
When you were little, did you have any other jobs outside the farm? Like, what did you do when you were a little boy to get started into farming? What jobs did you work growing up? And then, I guess, did you do anything other than farming during your life?
Well, I wouldn't say really much out of farming. I did, well, when I was little, my dad helped me get into having some of my own hogs and stuff.
How old were you?
Ooh, probably around 8 or 7, somewhere around there.
Okay.
So actually, when I was like 12 years old, I actually started having to pay taxes. So I kid you not, we were at the tax man one day, and my dad asked, how much money does my son need to be before we start filing taxes? And he threw out $1, and my dad said, uh-oh. So when I was around 12 years old, I actually had to start paying taxes. Oh, but to answer your question, sometimes for younger jobs, and it was probably still farm jobs, but neighbors, you know, a lot of our neighbors made little square bales of hay. Go over there with neighbor kids. It was actually fun because you were with your friends and stuff, so we'd help make hay, put hay in the hay barns and stuff. We had one of our local places was building a little business in town. I got to go in there, and they hired me for a summer when I was young for running the skid loaders and different things. So I was kind of actually saving up for a car when I turned 16.
Speaking of saving up for things, how were you with your money when you were younger? Did you have the investment mindset of when you were little, I need to save this money so that way I can invest it into my business and grow it? Or did you want to buy a bunch of stuff? How are you thinking?
Yeah, that's something I tried to do with my kids too, Summer, Cole, and Cooper, or whatever. When the kids are little, you actually need to start I shouldn't say you need to, because I don't know, each kid's different, each parent's different, but my thought was when the kids were little, we tried to get them to work with money and stuff, even, you know, kind of what we were doing with the books and our checkbooks and stuff. As I was little, schools never really taught us how to handle money. I think they kind of taught us how to spend money, but I think my first account that I started when I was a little boy was with Mutual of Omaha. It was a money market account, and had a checkbook with that, but it just started getting me in. And then as you get a little money put away, it's really hard to want to spend it because you watched it grow. So I guess I've always been the type, if you feel like the parents or want to do it, you know, if you can give the kids a little bit of money and work with them why you want to save it, and use it wisely and stuff. It's, I don't know, I guess when you were in school, I don't remember any teachers working with you, Cole, on how to save money, how to invest money. Might have been when you got older in high school.
Yeah, when I got older in high school, I had a really good teacher who taught me some of that stuff.
I do remember that now.
But while we're on the topic of money, so you oversee everything that goes on the farm. Like the final decision is you. And so you see all the money Cooper's spending, you see all the money I'm spending, you see all the money you're spending. Do you feel like Cooper spends too much money, I spend too much money, you spend too much money? Are we putting the farm in a worse position? You feel like do you really feel we're overspending, or how do you approach that? Because we've spent a lot of money this couple years.
This last year, it does seem like a lot of money. It's gone through the hands. You know, it's hard because sometimes to invest in your business, which our business is our farm, sometimes to make it financially more stable, sometimes you got to spend some money to get in that spot. I guess, you know, it's kind of like our bin set up. Yes, it is a lot of money. We had to weigh in our eyes what our future plans were to try to get through. You know, it's kind of like the combine. There gets to be a point, it gets so wore out, it's going to cost more money to replace it. But how much money do you want to put in it every year for repairs? And eventually you may not be able to get them parts for it, and then you got a machine that's worth nothing. I guess to answer your question, Cole, I think we've been doing right moves. Some of them, yeah, they seem expensive, and they are expensive, don't get me wrong, but we have to kind of look at our operation, what we feel is right for us, and hopefully, you know, down the road here it will level off.
So overall, you think we're going in a good trajectory, though? We're not digging ourselves into a hole?
Right. No, we're going in the right area.
So you've been working with Cooper and I basically for the last 2 years, full time pretty much. What do you feel like you've learned from us?
Nothing. That's a pretty good question, Cole.
Just because in the farming world, people your age look at things a lot differently than people my age, and I look at things a lot differently than Cooper's age. And so, you know, we kind of have a really unique perspective with things, just like you looked at things different than how your dad looked at things.
I guess the biggest thing for me learning from you guys is you guys are both your individual little bodies, yourselves, and I got to respect. It's a tough question, I guess, how to answer it, but I got to sit back in times and respect your guys' decision on things. And
has there been any one thing where either Cooper brought an idea forward or I brought an idea forward on something towards the farm where you're just like, man, I've never looked at it that way before, and you learned something from it, and then you kind of took onto that idea and just lashed it onto your other knowledge to, you know, help propel us forward that much further?
Yeah, there's been actually quite a few things, because we get, sometimes I know for me, I get blind in my own sights. You as the boys are supposed to just follow me, not, and I would not want it that way. Honestly wouldn't, because a lot of things you guys have mentioned, sometimes at first I'm like, oh, that ain't gonna work, but then you sit there and think about it and it's like, let's try it. That is a smart way. And there's other times like, oh yeah, they're right, but I just didn't think of it, I guess.
So what's the process of that when Cooper comes forward with something or I come forward with something and you're totally against it, but what goes through your head to make you listen, and then not only listen enough to the point of you might be changing your mind on something you've been set on your ways for 30 years on?
To be totally honest on that question, Cole, what I think of when you guys bring stuff up, if I always am bullheaded, turn you guys down, or like I'm not going to listen, or I'm not going to change, or I'm not going to let you guys make changes on the farm, there's going to be a point you and Cooper would say, you know what, Dad never wants to listen to me, he never wants to. You're not going to feel like a part of your business here, and eventually you guys are going to pull away, and that would be one of the biggest things. I would never want to lose my kids over from being stubborn. And I've seen it, and I don't mean this bad, but I've seen it from some of my friends when I was younger. They would go to talk to Dad about something that, you know, I want to paint this old tractor that's all rusty. No, son, you're not going to paint it. We ain't going to waste money on it. And I've seen it, how my friends were treated over time, and after a while they just like, I'm not talking to Dad, I don't care about, I'm not. they don't have, and I always wanted your guys' blood into the farm as much as mine, if you guys choose to, because it is, like I said, it's always been our stuff, not mine, not yours, whatever. It's ours as a family doing. So that, I guess, to answer your question, is how I always looked at it. I don't want to shut down or be that stubborn person.
So what's something we wanted to do and we convinced you to let us do that once we got it done ended up being a bad idea?
I don't know if there's such thing as a bad idea, really. I mean, yeah, you guys maybe did some stuff that maybe didn't turn out the way you wanted, but it was still that learning curve.
So that's the way you looked at it from it, like, even if you knew we were going to fail from the start and it was something that really wasn't going to affect big things on the farm, you just said, okay, I'm going to let you have that failure on your own so that way you'll learn from it.
That's
so you strategically did that?
Yeah. I mean, I can remember, like, when you guys would be running the skid loader around, and Cooper, I think it was you, was playing really close to the bank of the creek. And these creeks weren't very deep, but if you got in them, you're going to be stuck. And I remember you were down there messing around, and I said something to my dad. I says, I should probably go down there and tell them to get away from that. They're end up sliding in and getting stuck. But I guess that's the only way they're going to learn. And my dad says, yeah, we can always pull them out. And I think you got buried down there pretty good with the skid loader.
Actually, I think that was Cooper.
But, and then another thing that pops in my mind, like when Cooper was restoring his 1977 pickup, that belonged to his grandma. And I thought he was just going to try to fix it up as a little runaround farm truck. And then he started tearing it apart. And I can remember saying to my dad, he could buy one cheaper than what he's going to have into it. I don't know if I want him to do that. And my dad, and I've learned a lot from my dad, but he goes, so what if he puts more money? He's learning what goes into that truck, what makes it run. He's not sitting in the bar or something like that up to no good. He's learning, so that's what we did. And look at how beautiful that truck looks now too.
So that was the negative side of things that taught us stuff, but what do you feel that we've brought forward, Cooper and I, to the farm that's helped benefit the farm?
You guys got a lot of skills. You both got a lot of skills. Because for like me, I could not run this whole thing on my own. I mean, I know I couldn't. And you've been super great with the books, trying to do the finances and stuff. And then you're always there to help run equipment, work with equipment and stuff. Cooper it's amazing for me to watch Cooper, how he tears into things. He's not scared to tear into projects, equipment, and get things tore apart. And there's times like, oh no, we're going to get this back together. He's pretty natural at that.
It's funny. It's literally exactly how Grandpa would do it. Even the way Cooper walks around the shop and lays his tools down and stuff. It's exactly. It feels like you're watching Grandpa. If you didn't see Cooper's hair, you would think you're looking at Grandpa.
Oh. And I see so much of my dad in Summer, you, in Cooper. It's just unreal, the different things you see. I guess as a parent, that is one of the things that's hard. And every one of you that are parents, you go to the bookstore, there is not a book that we can pick. Oh, sure, there's books there that people try to tell you how you're supposed to run your kids, what you're supposed to do. A lot of them never even had a kid. But it don't hurt to look at books and whatever, but what I'm meaning is we as the parents got to look at our kids, try to let them be young adults, even at a young age, talk to them like a human being. And there gets to be a point we try to teach them right from wrong, and they gotta carry on.
Now I will say one thing. Well, you guys did a lot of things very well, I feel like, but one thing I feel you especially did well is when you told us to do something. It wasn't you just telling us to do something. You lived your life the way you told us to do it. So it wasn't you saying one thing and then doing complete opposite. So we had a great role model to look up to on actual example. And you and Mom Grandpa and everybody was, I feel really good at that.
And when the kids were real little, we had 2 skid loaders, and
Not this one. It was an old Hydra Mac and then the Bobcat T190.
yeah.
Sorry, Mighty Mac.
But they wanted to build some ramps in the yard, so they were off for 5-6 hours one day, and they were little. I mean, they were very little running the equipment, and they would go one spot, dig up some dirt, and then they'd go in the yard and dump some dirt. And I can remember my aunt, super great lady, she had passed away now, but she was concerned for 5 hours they were driving these things around making big piles of dirt. And she said something to my dad, like, oh, they're wasting a lot of gas. Should you be letting them do that? And he's like, that's how they're getting to know this piece of equipment. We are here watching them. We were doing other stuff, but we could see them. And they always knew if something went wrong, just turn the key off, kill the engine. But that's how they got to learn how to run equipment. It gives them natural. I actually had one friend, I think, at 16 years old, his folks would never let him run any equipment. And one time I was over at his house and a tractor was in front of his garage. He did not know how to start it or anything, so we had to move it for him so he could get his car out. And then as he got older, he really didn't want anything to do with the farm. And and like I said, each parent's got to use, their own, each kid's different.
Well, you never told us we had to farm. You never even said like you wanted us here. You always thanked us for coming out and helping you. And you said, hey, I like it when you guys come out and stuff. Thanks for the help. You'd always say that every night. But there was never one time where you forced us to come out at all. You would always ask the night before, like, hey, we're pouring concrete tomorrow. Are you gonna be around? Could you help? You would ask that kind of thing, but it's never, hey, we're pouring concrete tomorrow. You need to come out and help us.
And I try to even do that yet today when we're working together. At the end of the day, say, thank you, Cooper. Thank you for Cole today for helping or letting me help you guys. Sometimes just that big thank you and letting the person know how much they mean is huge.
Yeah, well, it was always nice because you never felt like you had to do something you didn't want to do, and it was enjoyable being around you guys.
And I always try to make it fun. Grandpa, I think, always made it fun. You get in there and get the stuff done, but don't complain about it.
The thing about Grandpa was he was really quiet a lot of the times.
My dad was very quiet, and it was weird because sometimes you would talk to him, maybe ask him something, and he may not get back to you that day on it, and you're standing right beside him, and you're like, and maybe 2 days later, you're working, and he goes, yeah, that'll probably work. What will work? Or your question you asked 2 days ago. And so he was really good sometimes about putting things off for a long time. And when Mama Cornstar wanted to redo our kitchen and the house and stuff downstairs, I said, well, actually my dad owns this house, so we should probably run it by him. So I figured it'd probably buy 2 years maybe before we'd do any kitchen work. So we're sitting down that night eating supper, and Mama Cornstar says to my dad, hey, we're kind of thinking about remodeling the kitchen and stuff. What do you think? Yeah, I can stop at Lowe's. I can stop at Menards. I can get some books on kitchens, and we can see what we can come up with. The ball got started real quick.
All right, one last question. We'll let everybody go. So we've got a whole bunch of new technology across the farm over the past couple of years. All the auto steer stuff, just a lot of automatic shut-off things on equipment, the new bin site, and all the luxuries that has with it. Deep down, do you really feel like that has actually saved us time, or has it made a lot more work for us?
No, it would make a lot more work for me if I couldn't figure out some of the stuff. But sometimes when I'm working with the computers and stuff, or stuff in the cab, Cole, Cooper, can you guys help me? And we'll FaceTime. But in the long run, no, it's actually helped a lot. I think it's improved stuff a lot better around here. And I know that one of the questions too, somebody said, how do you think your crops compared this year compared to other years using more of the high-tech stuff? I think we're starting to get a lot more even yields. I'm not going to say that we're top of the line yields and stuff, but we're seeing our fields averaging more equal across, instead of seeing one field doing 50 bushels better than the other one doing 80 bushels less. It's more that even number. So I think technology's it's been huge around here.
Well, on the bin side alone, so we took out about 120,000 bushels in the last 6 weeks or so. Last year, we brought in 130,000 bushels, and it took us from the beginning of December till the end of April.
I read one of the comments last night. Somebody said, Daddy Cornstar don't look as stressed this fall as he has in the past, you know, hauling corn out and stuff in the winter. And that's part of it too, just easier running everything. And if we ever get all this done on the bin site, it's going to be very simple. And I guess the time affectant to be able to work on equipment and stuff in our shop, get truckers loaded faster. I never really thought about it till this year. You know, our old system, it might take 30 minutes to get a semi loaded. Well, we're costing that guy sitting here when he wants to be on the road. So like this year, we can load them faster, and even how we have it working right now.
Well, even with unloading everything faster, then now that frees up more time for you to do things in the shop instead of sitting filling semis all day. So with our planters, like those are about ready for planting season, and normally we should have been planting a week ago before we actually got in the field. I mean, our combine, kind of same thing.
That, I guess, to answer your one question, that was something the boys always wanted to do when we got done with a piece of equipment. You know, like the planter. Spring's done. Let's be getting it ready for next year. We were always the type, you put it in the back corner, and like Cole just said, a lot of the neighbors were out starting to plant. Oh, we got the planter out. Oh, I didn't see this was broke. I didn't see this was wore. So to be able to get in and be able to work on that stuff, and I know lately us boys have been having a good time working in the shop together. And I think what's really neat too, both Neva and Natalie are super great too when we're working on stuff. Like lately, Natalie's been underneath the planter getting dirty, and she said a comment the other day, I think it's the dirtiest I've ever got, but she had a smile on her face. And even for me as the dad working with the kids, you know, if it's summer and Jay are around, or Cole and Neva, or Cooper and Natalie, it's fun for me as a dad to get to know them little individuals too.
Wow, you did that without tongue-tying anybody's name.
Sometimes I call the kids the wrong names and stuff.
All right, we should probably let everyone get back to work. And
yeah, well, thank you guys. We're playing with this, getting things started back up with the Daddy Cornstar, and I know we're going to get Mama Cornstar in here. She said to me last night, well, this looks like the Daddy Cornstar show, and I'm like, Mama, this is our stuff. So I want to start getting Mama Cornstar in here too, doing things. So you guys can get to know Mama Cornstar too, because she is a huge part of our whole thing, and I'm proud to be there with her. See you guys later, and talk to you soon.